Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vitvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of my Guru, Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai. I take this privilege upon myself to welcome Swami Aparijitananda Saraswathi to this session. My hearty salams to all the University Leadership Board, all the elders, teachers, and all my dear brothers and sisters. Sarams to one and all. Swamiji, we are singularly blessed that you are addressing us today on the topic of the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. Swami, when we were informed that you will be addressing us, we just went to the surf and net and surfed, and we found one video about you speaking about the purpose of the life. When we saw the video, we reaffirmed ourselves about the purpose of our life, and that is to realize our own divinity. That is what this university is built for. As Sadguru puts it, this university has three main goals. That is Yogaha Karmasu Koshalam, Samatvam Yoga Muchyate, and Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And Swami, and a short introduction to Swamiji. Swami Aparijitananda in his Purvashram was an electronics and a communication engineer. After working in Bangalore as a lecturer in engineering for over 5 years, he resigned from the job in order to study the Indian scriptures in depth. After undergoing an intense training in Sandipani Sadhanalaya at Mumbai for 2 years, Swami joined the Chinmaya mission as a full-time Acharya. In the year 2018, on the Mahashivaratri day, Swamiji was given Sannyasa Diksha. A very fluent speaker in English, Swami has conducted several discourses in different parts of the country and in reputed institutions like IIT Mumbai. The depth of his understanding along with the clarity of the subject is clearly visible in all his discourses. He is also a regular contributor to various magazines and his articles are widely appreciated by all. Swamiji has served in the mission centers in Bangalore, Mysore and Shivamogga. Right now he is serving in the mission center at Mangalore. Swamiji, we are indeed truly blessed to have you with us, addressing us on the essence of Bhagavad-Gita, as it tells the essence of Upanishads is Bhagavad-Gita, and now we are speaking on the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. As a university students, we all look forward to hear such talks so that we can progress, hear the words of wisdom and improve ourselves in the path of spirituality. Over to you, Swamiji.
Om Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Yasyantam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Humble prostrations to one and all. Is the audio clear to everyone?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, fine. If this question is asked, what is the essential message of Bhagavad Gita? If this question is asked to majority of us, generally this is the answer we find people giving. What is the answer? Perform your actions without expecting results. This is what people will say. The essential message of Bhagavad Gita is this: Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. Now, you all are students of Vedanta, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita. So if this question is asked to us, what should be our answer? Our answer should be, Bhagavad-Gita is the very essence of the Upanishads. So therefore, the essential message of Bhagavad-Gita should be the essential message of the Upanishads. Isn't it? Sarvopanishado gao dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsasudhir bhokta dugdham gitamritam mahat. If all the Upanishads are cows, then Bhagavad Gita is dugdham gitamritam mahat. It is the milk. The essence of cow is milk. In the same way, the essence of Upanishad is Bhagavad Gita. Now, what is the essential message of the Upanishads? The essential message of Upanishad is Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. I am that Satchidananda Atma, the Supreme Self, the existence, consciousness, bliss. This is the essential message. So therefore, the essential message of Bhagavad Gita should be the Mahavakyas alone. Now a question may come, where is it mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? So it's very clearly mentioned in the 10th chapter. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Sarvabhutashaya Sthitaha. I am the Supreme Self in all being. This is how Bhagavan Krishna is introducing himself. Who is Krishna? Krishna is not son of Vasudeva or son of Devaki, etc. No, Krishna says, I am the Supreme Self shining in the hearts of everyone. Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata, Bhagavan says. I am the very knower of kshetra, the knower of body. That knower in every being, it is me. So this is how Bhagavan introduces himself. Right. So before entering into the talk of the essential message of Bhagavad Gita, we will have to briefly see what is the essential message of the Upanishads, because it's the same thing which is present in Bhagavad Gita. The message of the Upanishad is something which is divinely blissful. Know yourself. This is the message of the Upanishad. Uttishtata jagrata prapya varan nibodhata. Arise, awake to this great knowledge. Approach the masters and gain this knowledge. So now a question may come. How can I understand myself to be divine, perfect, immortal, etc.? Because my experience is totally different. I find myself to be imperfect with all kinds of negativities in me. But Upanishad says, Bhagavad Gita says that I am perfect. How am I to understand that I am perfect? So this question may come. So therefore, now we will briefly see how the masters have explained to us our divine perfection. So for that, first we will have to understand what is called as identification theory. Identification theory. What is identification theory? When entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. Once again, when entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. Now, let us try to understand this theory with an example. So all of us, we have gone to film theater and watched movies. So what happens in a movie theater? So we go and settle down in our seat, and slowly the movie unfolds. As the movie unfolds, what happens? We get absorbed into the movie. And then what happens? According to the moods of the movie, our moods also change, isn't it? We get identified with the characters in the movie. So if the character is happy, I am happy. If the character is anxious, I am anxious. Worried, I am worried. And when the character cries, I also start crying. Yes or no? Yes. Just imagine, in the movie theater, I am crying for what? I am crying for a problem which is not my problem. The unreal problem of an unreal character, for that problem, I am crying. Yes or no? So what is the mistake which I have done in the movie theater, because of which I degraded myself to the status of a slave? Why do I call myself a slave? Because now my moods are not in my control. I want to be happy, but in the film theater, I'm miserable. I'm crying. Let us assume it's a very tragic movie. I'm crying and weeping. Into the film theater, I entered as a master, but very soon I degraded myself to the status of a slave. What is the mistake I have done, because of which in the theater I have no control over my own emotions? The mistake is called identification. I got identified with the heroes and heroines in the movie, and now their moods become my mood, isn't it? I have no control over my emotions. The storyteller will control my emotions now, isn't it? So this mistake is called identification. I got identified. Identification means what? Becoming one. So what does the theory say? When entity A identifies with B, the properties of B become the properties of A. So entity A is me. I am watching the movie. Entity B is the character who is crying. So now what has happened? His crying becomes my crying, isn't it? Hero is crying, and along with the hero, I am also crying. Properties of A becoming property of B. Have you clearly understood? If you have understood, just raise your hands. Thank you. So this identification theory has to be first understood. When I identify with someone, that somebody's mood, property becomes mine. So what does Vedanta say? Vedanta says, my dear, this is the same mistake which you are doing in day-to-day life. There is no need for you to cry, but you are crying, just like in that film theater. So Vedanta, they define two terms. What are the two terms? One is called consciousness, the other is called matter. Consciousness and matter. Sometimes consciousness is referred to as Brahman, then matter will be referred to as Maya. Brahman, Maya. Sometimes consciousness is referred to as Purusha, then matter is referred to as Prakriti. Purusha, Prakriti, they go together. So Brahman, Maya, Purusha, Prakriti, Atma, Anatma, this is another way. Atma, Anatma. Drik, Drishya. Consciousness is sometimes called Drik or Drashta. Then matter is called Drishya. Or Kshetrajna, Kshetra. This is another pair. Kshetrajna, Kshetra. It is used in Bhagavad-Gita. Right? Sometimes Chaitanya, Jada. Consciousness is referred to as Chaitanya. Matter is called Jada. So these are all the different terms used, but understand there are only two entities, consciousness and matter. Now, what is matter? Anything which is made of 5 elements is matter. Anything made of 5 elements is matter. What are the 5 elements? Akasha, space. Vayu, air. Agni, fire. Jala, water. And Prithvi, earth. 5 elements. They are called as Panch Mahabhutas. So anything that is made of 5 elements is called matter. Now tell me, what are the things which are matter? The whole world which I see, it is made of 5 elements. Therefore, it comes under the category of matter. The physical body, it is nourished by food. So therefore, this body is also matter. The mind or the intellect, the thoughts in us, is it consciousness or matter? It is matter because the mind is nourished by food. For 5 or 10 days, when you don't eat anything, your mind stops functioning. That means mind takes nourishment from food. Therefore, the thoughts are also matter. Now Upanishad says, Bhagavad-Gita says, there is only one thing which is not matter, and it is consciousness. What is consciousness? The awareness in us, the consciousness in us, the witness in us, the absolute I in us, the aham. This witnessing consciousness in us is what is called as consciousness, or Brahman, or Atma, or Kshetrajna, or Drashta, whatever the name you use. And what is the property of this consciousness? This consciousness is infinite. It is perfect. It is divine. It is Ananda Swarupa. It is of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. Sach, Chit, Ananda. This is how they define. So everything related to this consciousness is perfection. There is nothing lacking in this consciousness. And what does Upanishad say? Tat Tvamasi, you are that. You are that infinite perfection. Know yourself. But then we say, if I am perfect, then why is it that I am not able to know it? So then the scriptures say we are not able to know it because our identification today is not with consciousness. Our identification today is with the body. If my identification is with the body, what will I experience? I will not experience the perfection of consciousness. I will experience the imperfection of the body. Now, please understand. Apply identification theory here. If I am identifying with the physical body, then what will I experience? Not the perfection of consciousness, but the imperfections of the physical body. Why? Because my identification is there. Whatever I identify with, that I will experience. So today, since my identification is with the impure, imperfect, defectful body, so therefore today I am experiencing all the imperfections and the defects. So therefore, what should be the solution? Today I am miserable because of my identification with the body. So what should be the solution? How to come out of this misery and what you call imperfection? Now in the film theater, now let us use that example. You are crying and weeping because it's a very tragic movie and the hero is going through all kinds of miseries. So in the film theater, if you have to put an end to your sorrow, what should you do? So the answer is, what will you do? Very many people pray to God, Bhagavan, free him from all miseries. It may or may not work. But what is the sure way of coming out of miseries in a film theater? The sure way is disidentify from the movie and identify with your own true self, isn't it? So what you should do? Stop watching the movie, take out your mobile phone, play some video games, or look around. Everybody is crying like you. Isn't it? Somehow disidentify. In the same way, how to put an end to all our miseries? So Vedanta says, disidentify from what you are not, identify with what you are. So disidentify from the body, mind, intellect, because it is not you, because you are the observer. You are the observer of your body, therefore you are not the body. You are the observer of your thoughts, and therefore you are not the thoughts. You are the witnessing principle, witnessing your thoughts, emotions, and the body, etc. So what has to be done? The solution is detach, attach. Disidentify from what you are not, identify with what you are. This is the solution. So therefore, the entire message of Upanishads, of Vedanta, of Bhagavad-Gita is only one: know yourself as you are. This is the very purpose of life. Right? So therefore, how to practice this? At the seat of meditation, Bhagavan says, Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalam asthiram tatastato niyamyetat atmanyeva vasham nayet. This is the kind of practice we have to do. At the seat of meditation, when you sit with closed eyes, you will find lot of thoughts coming in the mind. So many thoughts are there. Now, at the seat of meditation, you will find two entities. What are the two entities? Number one, the observing consciousness, who is observing the thoughts. Number two, the flow of thoughts in the mind. So when you close your eyes and sit for meditation, you will find so many thoughts coming. So what are you supposed to do? Now, please note down this very important law. The law is, if you identify with the thoughts in the mind, the thoughts will multiply. It's a law. What is it? If you identify with the thoughts, thoughts will multiply. If you witness your thoughts, thoughts will die. It is a law. It's a very important law in meditation. If you identify with the thoughts, thoughts will multiply. If you witness the thoughts, thoughts will die. So what does Bhagavan say? Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalam asthiram. Mind is chanchalam and asthiram. All kinds of thoughts will come. It is very fickle. Then what are you supposed to do? Tatas tato niyamyetat atmanyeva vasham nayet. Bring back those thoughts and fix it in the self. Now, what does it mean? What it means is this: may your attention be upon the witnessing consciousness and not upon the thoughts. You have a choice, either to pay attention to the witnessing consciousness or to pay attention to the thoughts. You have a choice. Get carried away by the thoughts. Be interested in the thoughts of the mind and then get carried away. And this is what normally happens. Mind is wandering and you are also wandering along with the thoughts. If you are not properly prepared for meditation, this is what happens. The mind wanders and along with it we also wander. Indriyanam hi charatam yen manon vidiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayur navam iva ambhasi. Like a boat carried away, anchorless boat carried away by the wind, we also get carried away by the thoughts at the seat of meditation. What are you supposed to do? Be firmly rooted in that witness, in that awareness, in that consciousness. Remember that consciousness is none other than Bhagavan himself. That awareness in us is Bhagavan himself. Right? So when you are getting carried away by the thoughts, what are you doing? You are ignoring the Lord. You are disrespecting the Lord. You are forgetting the Lord. Remember, it's a great sin. That is why we don't have peace. Why there is no peace in our mind? Because we have forgotten the Lord, ignored the Lord, disrespected the Lord, we have no peace. So at the seat of meditation, you firmly get rooted in that consciousness, which is the Lord. Then what happens? When your attention is totally upon this consciousness, all the thought starts dying down. Mind becomes more and more peaceful. And finally, a time comes when thoughts are not there. There is only pure consciousness. And what is the nature of consciousness? It is Ananda Swarupa. It is of the nature of bliss. So what is the proof that your meditation is becoming successful? The proof is your mind becomes more and more peaceful. Peace, contentment, cheerfulness, they well up in the heart as your meditation becomes more and more steady and successful. Right. So what is it that to be done at the seat of meditation? Withdraw your attention from the thoughts and pay attention only to consciousness and firmly abide in consciousness. This is what we are supposed to do. Now, let me tell you one thing. This is very, very difficult. If the mind is not properly prepared, this meditation is going to be very difficult, or rather impossible, I can say. So therefore, we have to prepare the mind also. So now the question is how to prepare the mind. So entire 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, Karma Yoga, is dedicated for preparing the mind. What do you mean preparing the mind? Preparing the mind means making the mind virtuous, filled with all noble virtues of life. Such a pure mind is a prepared mind. So what is preparation for the mind? Enriching the mind with noble virtues of life is called preparing the mind. What are the noble virtues of life? Forgiveness, compassion, humility, love, egolessness. All these are virtues. Devotion for the Lord. They're all noble virtues of life. And when the mind is filled with such virtues, such a mind is called a prepared mind, a fit mind, fit for higher meditation. Now, what is the essence of Karma Yoga? So Karma Yoga says, perform. Now, remember these 4 points. Karma Yoga is nothing but these 4 points. What are the 4 points? Number 1, Kartavya Nirvahanam, performance of one's own duties. Kartavya Nirvahanam. Number 2, Samyak Acharanam, doing it as best as you can. Samyak Acharanam. Number 3, Ishvara Arpana Buddhihi, performing your actions, your duties as a worship of the Lord. Ishvara Arpana Buddhihi. Number 4, Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. When results come from the world, have Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. Accept it as though it is prasad coming from Bhagavan. Right? So what are the 4? Number 1, Kartavya Nirvahanam, performance of duties. Number 2, Samyak Acharanam, performing it as best as you can. Number 3, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, performing your duties as a worship of the Lord. And number 4, Ishvara Prasada Buddhi, considering in life everything as prasad from the Lord. So these are the main important points to be remembered in Karma Yoga. So the first one is Kartavya Nirvahanam. You need not do so many things in this world. Your job is only to do your duty. Right? As a student, your duty is to study. As a family man, your duty is to take care of your wife, children, etc. So whatever duties, as a professional, as a family person, as a student, whatever duties you have, doing it is called Kartavya Nirvahanam. And how you have to do it? Do it as best as you can. Now you are all students. So please don't compare yourself with others. There may be very many others who are scoring much more marks than you. It is no problem at all. Are you doing your best? This is the question you have to ask yourself. Am I doing my best? So that is called a samyak acharana. If I'm doing my best, I have all the right to be peaceful and happy. I don't have to compare myself with others. Samyak acharanam. Third one, Ishvara arpana buddhi. Whatever you are doing, perform it as a worship of the Lord. So now you are all studying. Let this study itself be a worship of the Lord. So what you should say, Bhagwan, this ability to study is given by you. This physical body is given by you. This physical body is enlivened by you. It is alive because of you. These talents and ability to study is given by you. This inspiration to study is given by you. So therefore, Bhagwan, I must worship you with this duty which you have given to me. This is called as Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Right? You are doing it, you are doing everything to please the Lord. Now remember this. This is called Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. I don't do what I like, I do what Bhagwan likes. This is called Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. There are so many things which I like, but I know Bhagwan doesn't like. So then don't do it, even though you may like it. There are so many things which I don't like, but I know Bhagwan likes it. Then do it. This is called Sharanagati, surrender. Performance of duty to please the Lord. Bhagwan should be happy with us. Just like a good child will always try to make its parents happy. In the same way, we are all children of God. So what is our primary duty in life? To make our Creator happy, to make the Lord happy. This is our primary duty. So if suppose I have done something wrong, what happens? There is a conscience prick. There is a guilt feeling. That guilt feeling is an indication that Bhagwan is not happy with us. Understand, this is the way he talks to us, he communicates to us. Whenever we do something wrong, there is a guilt feeling. That guilt feeling is a sure sign that I have done some mistake somewhere. I have done something wrong. See, whenever you use harsh words against others, you will always find that the mind is disturbed. Remember, disturbance of the mind is a sure proof that the Lord is not happy with us. How do we know Lord is happy with us? Peace of mind is the proof. When you have done something good, nice, selfless, always you will find that the mind is very peaceful and light and cheerful. This is a sign that Bhagwan, our Creator, is happy with us. So this way we must judge whether what we have done is right or wrong. Always try to please the Lord through your noble actions. So you will always find that whenever actions are performed for the welfare of all, without any selfish reasons, without any egocentric desires, when actions are performed as a worship of the Lord, in a spirit of cooperation and not competition, if this way you are performing action, you will always find that the mind is peaceful because the Lord is happy with you. And this is the way to purify the mind. This is called as Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. And then Ishvara Prasada Buddhi, whatever comes in life, accept it without complaining, without grumbling. Because whatever comes to you, you get it because you deserve it, good or bad. God gives us not what we desire, but what we deserve. There's a very famous statement. What we deserve, he gives. So therefore, no complaining, no grumbling. Exactly like in the temple. So in the temple, the pujari gives you some prasad. Some tirtham is given. Some tulasi leaf is given. Whatever is given, you just accept it, isn't it? You don't complain. Even the tirtham, whether it is hygienic or not, you don't see. You just take it. So that is called as Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. So this way, accept everything in life without complaining, without grumbling. This is called as Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. So therefore, what happens is your whole life is geared towards only one purpose, to please your Lord. This is called as Karma Yoga way of living. What is the other way of living? The other way of living, you are just performing action to get something from the world. Desire-oriented action, result-oriented action. You want something from the world, therefore you are doing it. But here, a Karma Yogi, how does he perform action? He performs action to please the Lord. Whatever makes my God happy, I will do it. That is his attitude. So now, see the difference. An ordinary person performs action for himself, maybe for his family, maybe for his organization. This is the way he performs action. What about a Karma Yogi, a spiritual person? He performs actions for the Lord. Now, just see this point. When I perform action for my family, and when I'm in trouble, who will look after me? My family looks after me. When I perform action for an organization, and when I'm in trouble, organization looks after me. Now just imagine when you are performing action for the Lord and you need something, who will have to provide it? Are you able to understand? That omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Lord, when you are performing action for him, so whatever you need, he supplies. Now, this is something great. Just imagine when that infinite Lord is with you, what is it that you will ever lack in life? Are you able to understand the significance of Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga means what? Through karma, you are yoga. Yoga means to unite. Yuj means to unite. Through your action, you are uniting with the Lord. This is Karma Yoga. So when you perform action for the sake of the Lord, that Lord ensures whatever you need, he will provide you. Whether it is confidence, whether it is courage, whether it is resource, whether it is wealth, whether it is strength, whether it is health, whatever you need, he provides it. Because you are a representative of that Lord in fulfilling his plans in the world. Bhagwan's job is only one, dharma samsthapana. Peace and harmony in the world. This is the job of Bhagwan. So you become an instrument in the hands of the Lord in fulfilling his plans, in executing his plans. So this is the whole of Karma Yoga. So what happens when you perform Karma Yoga? Not only that you are happy, you live a life full of contribution. Others are also happy. You are happy. There is peace and harmony everywhere. There is prosperity everywhere. And in the process, your mind also becomes very, very pure. Now, what is the benefit of having a pure mind? With such a pure mind, you can meditate well. What is the purpose of meditation? Meditation is meant to know my own self, because that Lord is not somewhere outside. He is right here in my own heart as my own self. Whole life is dedicated to know him, to realize him, to experience him. For that, only obstacle is the impure mind. So what does Karma Yoga do? It purifies the mind, and such a pure mind becomes an instrument for me to realize my own self. Are you able to getting the point? Are you able to? So the whole of Karma Yoga is meant to prepare the mind. And once the mind is prepared, with that prepared mind, you are able to meditate successfully. And with successful meditation, you are able to know your own self, which is none other than the Supreme Lord. Is it clear? Now, what is the practical application of this knowledge? The practical application is this: when you live in the world, once you have known that this Lord is a self in you, the very consciousness in you, once through regular practice of meditation, once you are well rooted in this ultimate truth in you, what happens to you? You become unaffected by the ups and downs of life. This is the greatest benefit. Life is full of heat, cold, full of pairs of opposites. Heat, cold, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor, praise, criticism, victory, defeat. Life is full of ups and downs. So what happens to a person who regularly meditates? He will not depend on the external world for happiness. What is the condition of an ordinary person? He is tossed up and down in the world. When there is victory, he is very happy. When there is defeat, he is miserable. When he is praised, he is very happy. When he is criticized, he is miserable. This is his condition, up and down. Like a person tossed up and down in the ocean. But what about this wise man? His source of happiness is not the external happenings. Remember, we have no control over the external happenings. So the wise man, his source of happiness is not the outer world. His source of happiness is his own self, which is Ananda Sarupa. So therefore, being rooted in this center, he functions in the world outside. And then what happens? He is undisturbed by the external ups and downs, victories and defeats, praises and criticisms. He is unaffected. Now, this is the greatest benefit. He is ever contented. He is ever cheerful. He is ever happy. He is independent. He is strong. He knows Bhagavan is always with me. I am not alone. The Lord is always with me. So I have nothing to fear. If at all there is any responsibility from my side, Bhagavan will equip me with whatever is necessary to fulfill those responsibilities. He knows it. And therefore, he is ever peaceful. He is ever happy. He is ever cheerful. So not only that he is happy, he makes everybody happy around him. It is all because of the strength of this knowledge. Right? So how to apply this knowledge? It is exactly like the person who is playing his role in the drama. In the drama, you have a particular role to play. Maybe the role of a king or a beggar. But deep down, you know who you are, isn't it? You don't get carried away by the role. Whether it is the role of a king or a beggar, or suppose you are given the role of Mahatma Gandhi, let us say. In the end, you have to die. Somebody will shoot you and you have to die. Will you have any problem? In the drama, you have to die. When the bullets are shot, you have to fall down dead. Will you have any problem? No. Why? Because you know that you don't die, isn't it? And therefore, you are able to beautifully act out your part in the drama. You will receive the bullets and "Hey Ram," you will chant and then fall down dead, isn't it? There is no problem for you. Why? Because you know, I am not this. I am something different, isn't it? So you are beautifully able to play your role when you know that you are something different from the role which you are playing in the outer world. You are able to play all your roles. The role of a student, the role of a husband, wife, father, mother, whatever the role you are given in the society, you are able to beautifully play it because you know that you are not the role, you are something different from the role. This is the greatest benefit of this knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. Right? So as it is beautifully said, Andar Rama, Bahar Drama. What is it? Andar Rama, you hold on to that Lord, and Bahar, you do your drama. Whatever role is there, you beautifully act it out. Andar Rama, Bahar Drama. Right? This is possible only if Andar Rama is there. Unless you have done your spiritual practices regularly, your prayers, your meditation, unless you do it regularly, this Andar Rama will not happen. Only Bahar Drama will happen. Hold on to that Lord. Get riveted in him through your practices. It is exactly like, suppose you have to take bath in Ganga. Ganga flow is very strong, very powerful, in especially Rishikesh, etc. So they have put chains there, on the sides, on the banks, you have chains. So what do? You hold on to that firm chain and then float yourself in that water, isn't it? You enjoy the swimming. So what do? Hold on to that firm thing and play in the, infirm thing. In the same way, hold on to the real in you, the imperishable in you, and then play in the realms of the change. The world is full of change, birth, death, etc. It's a constant phenomenon here. Don't get attached to any of this. Hold on to the real, the imperishable, the ultimate, and then play your game in the external world. This is the message of Bhagavad-Gita. This is the message. And what happens to Arjuna, you all know. Once this teaching was given, he was free from all kinds of confusions and delusion. And Arjuna became a, a war hero after the war, we can say. He was able to perform his duties beautifully well, holding on to this knowledge. And this can happen to all of us, provided we follow this teaching. I sincerely invoke the grace of the Lord and the blessings of the entire Guru Parampara. May we study these teachings. Now just imagine Bhagavad-Gita, something written which 5,000 years back. Even today we have this knowledge. What does it mean? Very many generations they have practiced it. They have seen the benefits, and therefore they have passed it on to the next generation, isn't it? So what is our responsibility? May we all gain this knowledge, see the results in our own life, and pass it on to the next generation. This is our duty. So in this regard, I sincerely invoke the grace and blessings of the Lord and the entire Guru Parampara. May we all get benefited, and may we be an inspiration to others around us. Hari Om, Sai Ram, thank you. Now if you have any questions, you are most welcome.
Saram Swamiji, this was really a wonderful talk and session. And personally for me, it was one of the most engrossing talks I ever heard. And my takeaways were the yardstick, because I had this doubt from before, that what is the yardstick whether the Lord is happy with us or not. And as you said, if the mind is restless, then the Lord is not happy with us. But if the mind is at peace, then the Lord is happy with us. And many other things, like I personally was very interested in Karma Yoga, and as you made the 4 points, I was very, very happy. Swami, we have a few questions and from the students. And the first question is, every situation in life is associated with ourselves being identified with the body. How do we disidentify then, and how do we be witness?
See, there is something called practice. See, first you listen. You have listened. Then there is something called practice. And after practice, what happens? Effortlessly it happens. As and when you are handling situation, deep down you know, I am different from this. Exactly like in the movie theater. In the movie theater, you are crying and weeping, but deep down you know that you are not this. Yes or no? You are able to enjoy it because you know, I am not this character and all these problems don't belong to me. Deep down you know. So you have two parts, as though one part of the mind, you allow it to go through the movie and through the happenings of the movie, the ups and downs of the movie. One part of the mind you allow. The other part of the mind is rooted in the truth. What is the truth? That the whole thing is a bluff. Isn't it? You have two parts. In the same way, with regular meditation, what happens is your mind also gets divided to two parts. One part of the mind is firmly rooted in the knowledge, your true identity, the Supreme Self, and other part of the mind is playing in the world around. Exactly like a person who is very well, mastered the art of driving. He is able to drive even when talking on mobile phone, isn't it? He is talking in the mobile phone, but he is driving also. How is he able to do? One part of the mind is driving, the other part is talking in the mobile phone, isn't it? So that ability we have, and when we practice it, we gain that ability. I hope I have answered.
Yes, Swamiji, what you said was really true. Practice is the key for the success. And the second question, Swamiji, is that what is our greatest distraction in the path of spirituality?
See, our greatest enemy is our mind. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah, Bhagavad-Gita says. Atmaiva hi atmano bandhuhu. Your own mind is your best friend. Your own mind is your worst enemy. This we have to always remember. If all the time you are playing with this mobile phone and this and that, who is your enemy now? Your own mind. A drunkard, a drug addict, a chain smoker, who is his enemy? His own untrained, rather ill-trained, impure mind, isn't it? So therefore, greatest friend is our mind. Worst enemy is also our mind. So what are we supposed to do? We have to discipline our mind. Discipline the mind from all kinds of distractions. Whatever disturbs the mind is something wrong. So therefore, don't go into such places. Don't expose yourself to such books or programs which disturb the mind. So disciplining your mind, your teachers cannot do, your parents cannot do, only you have to do. There are millions of distractions. Everything is a distraction. Kama is a distraction. Krodha is a distraction. Anger, greed, jealousy, revenge, hatred, they are all various kinds of distractions. But all these distractions are rooted in the mind. And the best way to win over distraction is turn the mind to the Lord. This is something great. If you turn the mind to the Lord, that mind becomes a perfectly disciplined mind. And with such a disciplined mind, you will have no problem at all. You will be attaining success wherever you go.
Yes, Swamiji. The next question is, Swami, how to explain this truth that we are not the body and mind through logic and reason?
The way I have done now. What I have done now in 10-15 minutes is that through logic, I have explained how we are not the body. What is the proof? The observer is different from the observed. This is a law. I am observing this watch, so therefore I am different from this watch. I am observing this body, so therefore I am different from the body. I am observing my thoughts, therefore I am different from my thoughts. Isn't it? That which is not me is different from me, can be witnessed, can be observed. So this itself is a law. This itself is a law given by the Vedantic Shastras to prove that we are not the body. The very fact that I am able to witness my thoughts shows that I am not the mind or the intellect. So this is the way logically we have to prove that we are not the body, mind, or intellect.
Yes, Swamiji. Swamiji, the next question is, some say that the mind should not be restricted, but if we do not restrict, thoughts are unlimited. What is the way for it?
Who says that mind should not be restricted? See, our guide should always be the scriptures. Our guide should always be the great realized masters. Please understand this. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry cannot be our guide. No. There are scriptures written, so let that be the guide. Mind has to be disciplined, has to be mastered, has to be restricted. If you allow the mind to wander here and there, then you will become a helpless slave of a monstrous master called mind. This is what will happen. If you allow the mind to wander, mind will become your master and you will become a slave. If you discipline the mind, you become a master and the mind becomes a slave. How you should use your mind? Exactly like you are using your pen. So when I need it, I use my pen, right? And when I don't need it, I keep it back in my pocket. Yes or no? In the same way, I must be able to use my mind also. That is called efficient using the mind. Mind is needed, of course, but there are times when I don't need mind. I want the mind to be quiet. So I must be able to quieten the mind also. So if I'm able to use my mind just like I'm using my pen or any other instrument or any other device, then everything is fine. Let not the mind use me.
Swamiji, you told that thoughts are jada, thought that we are not the body but conscious. Is this kind of thoughts are also jada?
Every thought is a jada.
Yes,
every thought is a jada, but it gets the power from consciousness. Please understand, consciousness is the enlivening principle. It enlivens, exactly like electricity. Bulb by itself doesn't have the power to give light. It is the electricity which makes the bulb ability to give light. In the same way, all electrical devices, power comes from electricity. In the same way, it is the consciousness which enlivens the body and makes it as though alive. It is consciousness which makes the thought alive, you know. So all that power to enliven comes from consciousness.
Swamiji, last question for the day. What is that prevents people from living to their fullest potential?
Once again.
Swami, what is that prevents people from living to their fullest potential?
Our own mind. Answer is over. Our mind.
Yes, Swamiji. Swamiji, once again, this was really a wonderful session, and like on behalf of the university, we invite you to the university, and we look forward for many such sessions with you and more talks. And personally, Swamiji, when I was in my second year degree, I saw the documentary, The Quest. And from that day, Swami Chinmayananda became my inspiration. And I always wanted to interact with somebody from that mission. And today my dream got fulfillment. And I'm really thankful to you for having come here and addressed all of us. Once again, Swami, thank you very much. And it was really a wonderful talk. Swamiji will end the session with Sahana Avatu.
Yes.
Sahana Avatu. Sahano Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Swamiji.